What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Daily here, and today we have the new episode of the Codec for you, joined as always by Young.
What's up, everybody? It's Young here, and welcome to another episode of the Codec. I'm exhausted, that's all I'll say for now. I'm dying, guys, slowly.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Busy work week for you today,
absolutely.
And throughout the rest of this week, and in the coming weeks, you're going to stay busy a little bit. Not just in Metal Gear, but you've got Fallout news to cover now. There's some new games that are coming out that I'm sure you're going to cover, so you're going to be a busy guy, and I think the audience loves that when you're busy. We hate going those weeks without, or week-long periods without videos sometimes. Yeah. So we're glad you're busy. But also joined today by Corrupt Ronin. How you doing, man?
What's going on, guys? It's a pleasure to be here. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Codec. I'm excited to get to talking about Metal Gear Solid, guys. I've been trying to follow the news lately, and I know there's a lot of it going on. I've been trying to catch up today, so I'm happy to get to sit down and talk about this.
Well, that is almost an understatement. There is a ton of stuff going on with Metal Gear. And as promised by myself and my two co-hosts here, this episode of the Codec is all about Metal Gear. That's what you guys love. That was our first interview, was with David Hayter. A lot of our interviews up until this point have mainly just been with Metal Gear casts. And we've felt like we owe it to you guys to give you a little live news preview coverage. Young's got videos coming out. Ronan talks about this on the daily, and I have some videos coming out as well. But the fans that come and watch us live, you guys get a little bit of sneak peek at some of our thoughts, theories, and things that we're thinking about in the Metal Gear universe, as well as we're excited to hear what you guys are going to come up with in the chat. I know going back and reading the chat logs is always a fun thing for me to do. But we're going to start off today's episode of the Codec with the new information regarding the morale system in Mother Base. That's the first topic we're going to talk about. It's a little light topic to get into here. It's not too much we can go in depth about because we don't know too much, but it should be good to get us kick-started. So I believe Young started us off last time. So Ronan, what are your thoughts and theories on this new integration of morale into the Mother Base system? I know we saw a little bit of it in Peace Walker in the form of food. You had like a certain food rating. Do you think that's all we're getting, or is this going to be a much more in-depth morale system?
I feel like it's going to be a lot more in-depth this time around. I think that a lot of it will play into, I want to say, how they defend Mother Base when it comes to scenarios where your Mother Base is being attacked by, let's say, another player, for example. That'll be a great way to incorporate morale and stuff into that as well, where, if there's not enough morale for your side, then perhaps the defense won't be as, well stacked against somebody else's, let's say, in that scenario. So I do think there's a lot of importance to that they're bringing in this time around, other than the food system that they had in Peace Walker. So I'm pretty excited to see what that is. And unfortunately, like you said, we didn't get a lot of information about it, but perhaps we'll see a bit more as we get closer to release. I don't know if they're going to show anything at E3 about it, though. They might not, at least for people that are watching it on news and stuff like that. People that might get a chance to play it, that's a different story.
The morale system caught my eye right off the bat because it from what they've said, it is influenced not only by how often you visit the base, but by some of the decisions and people that you bring on. Are you thinking something maybe like a Mass Effect State of the Galaxy thing, where you had every galaxy at 50% to start out with, and then the more you contribute to that, the higher it goes, and the more benefits that you got from it?
I do. I feel like that would be a great way to make it where the system makes sense, and I feel like a quick throw-in to add a bit more to the game without actually making it an in-depth system, for example.
A meta game type thing?
Yeah, like a meta game type thing. So I feel like, although I will say that I had my issues with the whole galaxy readiness thing that Mass Effect 3 had.
Didn't we all?
But besides that, I do think that there'll be some importance to it for sure, outside of just it being a meta game thing for sure.
Well, thank you for your opinions on that. Now, Young, what are your thoughts on the whole morale system, and how is that going to affect our Metal Gear experience?
Well, first of all, what we know now is that morality will affect soldier stats. So low morale will decrease their stats, and high morale will increase their stats. So very similar to the food system in Peace Walker. And so far we know that Quiet will decrease morale if you decide to recruit her, and DD will increase morale. I read in an article, because I went through every single one of them, that you'll hear the soldiers talking about how cute Dee Dee is and stuff like that. And
Yes.
at the same time, you'll also hear people talking about Quiet and how, how suspicious she is and how people don't trust her, and you'll hear
some people might
rumors.
say she's cute.
Yeah. Some people will be like, high morale for that cleavage, whatever.
Of course.
I would, I wouldn't mind. But anyway, no, it's an interesting system. I think it's going to be very similar to Peace Walker, but now that Mother Base is a sort of living, breathing thing instead of just menus, I think it'll certainly be expanded upon to some degree. I think, like Ronan said, it'll come into play when it comes to possible Mother Base infiltration stuff. I get the feeling that that's not just going to be online, but also you're going to get someone infiltrating your base in the missions themselves, like later in the game. Yeah, and maybe that'll come into play where soldiers will defend better if they have higher morale and stuff like that. But we do know that stats are influenced by that. So and players have to visit Mother Base often. That's not just about the support buddies, but also about being there as a presence for the soldiers. They need a senpai to notice them, basically. That's
Young, everybody.
He went there. He went there. He went there.
That's just how it is, and that's all we know, though. I think we'll find out more in the coming days, maybe. But that's all that I know. That's all we know, and I'm excited to see what else there is for this morality or morale system.
I definitely agree. Now, you guys like, like I like to do the devil advocate type thing here. So what I'm going to say to you is, do you think it's fair? Do you think that having a morality system like that forces players to return to Mother Base or forces them to not select certain characters or something like that, do you think that's a good system? It makes sense, obviously, from a realistic standpoint. Obviously, you don't want people like Quiet, if they're your enemy, to be at your base. But let's say you're a completionist and you want everybody at your base. Do you think that's fair to kind of penalize them for that?
I think it balances things out. I don't think that doesn't necessarily force players to go back to Mother Base. It won't kill the base. I think the biggest, actually, I read in another article that the biggest thing that will destroy your base is if you have low GMP. If at that point players or soldiers' morale will really hit
that's
rock
the money.
bottom. Yeah. But in terms of buddy and stuff, there will be lower and higher morale, but nothing terrible like being bankrupt. That will actually have soldiers leaving.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, if morale reaches an all-time low, you can actually have soldiers deserting Mother Base. I think that actually was something that was in Peace Walker. I could be wrong.
I think
it sounds very similar to something
I don't know.
like that.
I think in Peace Walker, if it was low, they would get in a fight or something and go to the brig, and then you'd lose their stats.
No, here they can actually leave. They can actually abandon Mother Base. So, it's all very interesting, and I think that I don't think it's unfair personally, because I think, as I said before, it keeps things balanced. It keeps players feeling like they're the boss, that they're responsible for these things. I think that's kind of a part of the game, and I don't think it'll be so influential. I don't think it'll be so so influential that it'll just break the game or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that will motivate players to visit Mother Base, but it's nothing that will force them to. I think it's a balanced system, and I don't know 100% because I haven't played the game, but that's the feeling that I get based on what I've read and what I've seen.
Right. And just the little disclaimers, obviously none of us have played the game. None of us know exactly 100% what's going to happen. So everything that you hear today, take it with a grain of salt. It's more a theory and our personal thoughts on everything. But Ronan, how do you feel about that? Is it fair? I know when we compared it to the Mass Effect stuff, people were very upset that they just got that 50% boost to the EMS unless they played multiplayer, which is kind of like the same thing here to like a certain degree. Obviously, different aspects go into this. Like Yong was saying, with the soldiers liking one particular companion and not liking another. You didn't have that much detail in the Mass Effect stuff, but it's on the same kind of platform where if you do these things, you're going to get a boost. If you don't, you're going to get not just the neutral stuff, but sometimes, like Young said, if you go bankrupt, you're going to have a negative effect on pretty much everything. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's unfair necessarily. I think that it's a way of, let's say, rewarding players that do want to sit down and invest their time into making Mother Base what they want it to be and actually play the game. I don't think that it's going to necessarily make the game unfair for those who may not have that time to invest into it, for example. I think that it kind of depends on how much Mother Base is going to play a big role in terms of, story progression per se, and whether or not that the morale system, for example, affects, whether or not you may get attacked by an AI controlled faction that might try to infiltrate your base. But I don't think they're going to make it to a sense where you can't really play the game per se, or you lose all the research and things like that you've invested in your Mother Base. On top of that, I feel like that would kind of destroy the game in some aspect. It may even turn some players off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think that it's going to be unfair. I think they may have a good way of balancing that system out, where it simply rewards players that do invest that time into the system.
I will say this though, Mother Base is a vital part of the game, and if you don't like the base management stuff that from Peace Walker, you might not enjoy the game as much as, say, the
Do you think maybe you could have something like Kaz manage that? You think they might have an option?
Kaz and Ocelot do automatically they automatically manage the soldiers that you Fulton. They will distribute them automatically, and then players can go in the iDroid and customize that however they want, if they want to. But I don't. And yeah, there are a lot of things that do happen automatically, but also players have to actively research and develop what they want to research and develop. If they want a tranquilizer sniper rifle, they have to go in there and put the effort in, and Kaz won't go in the field and with his stump leg and get the necessary tools and materials and staff. You have to do that. You have to get the anesthesiologist. You have to. So if you I think you'll have a good base without the Mother Base stuff, but if you want to go above and beyond and really have a bunch of tools and cool items and whatever, you want to definitely invest in Mother Base, and you want to put an effort into that. And
which who wouldn't? Like, that just adds longevity to the game.
You're the boss. It really does. Like, how badass is that?
It adds a completely different aspect of the game where you want to invest your time into, which I think is a really cool idea.
Yeah.
All right, so the next topic that we have coming up is during one of the articles that came out, one of the sections talked about the length of the game. We've talked about the length of the game on the Codec before in another episode, but just to put it in perspective, today, the article I'm referring to is the Italian article. That's the one that I helped Young translate. And during that article, it stated that they played around 15 hours of the game, completed 16% of the story and 9% of the overall game at 15 hours. And these guys
I can give you a better stat. One guy,
give me a better stat.
One guy, for a Konami rep, he was playing the game. He's almost done with the main story, and it took him 50 hours ish to get there. 50-something% done.
Wow.
And that's just the main story. So, and I'm sure he did a few side ops and whatever, but 50 hours into the game, 50-something%, 52 or something like that. That's crazy. So you're gonna, if you want to complete the game 100%, you'll have to invest around an hour, 100 hours. That's the estimate that I'm gonna give based on that.
And that's just the story, right? That's just your reference to the story. Like, if you wanted to complete all of the side missions, maybe I'm sure they're gonna have like ground zeros to timed objectives and things like that. You're looking at a lot of bang for your buck here. But at what point is it too much? Do you guys think that a game like Metal Gear, like normally in Metal Gear, up until this point, we've been shuffled along from point A to point B, and kind of like Metal Gear Solid 4 did it the most open world ish, where you had these larger levels that you could maneuver around in, and they were all connected and stuff like that. But you still had a force that was pushing you forward. Without that, are we going to get the same feeling and emotion from the Phantom Pain that we got maybe from Metal Gear Solid 4? And I know a lot of people didn't like all the cutscenes and stuff. However, like, I enjoyed most of that, and then during the gameplay, there was always enough like motivation to get from one end to the other. And let me explain why before I let you guys answer. the example that I use all the time is the game Watch Dogs. All right, so playing Watch Dogs, it's a bad game. We know. Okay, just let me.
I'm just like, okay, here we go.
Everyone's just like,
let me say what I gotta say. It makes sense. Check this out. All right, so in Watch Dogs, it's an open world, right? So you get a mission that says go to your nephew's birthday party, and you go there, and something happens, and your nephew's like kidnapped. Now, in between you rescuing your kidnapped nephew, the game stops and lets you go take that as a separate mission. So this whole time that your nephew is kidnapped, you could go around and play cards, you could drink beer, and it's like nothing happens between that mission and this mission. And that really frustrates me. Like, I feel like if Metal Gear does something like this where, like where Kaz is kidnapped and they have me on a good foot because I've seen an article that said if you wait too long to rescue Kaz, you'll fail the mission.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, if they implement that throughout the game, I can see it being okay. But if they don't take that same detail throughout all the different missions that they have, and you have something that, great big happens, and then the next thing you're out, hunting bears while, they bomb your mother base, that kind of pacing will kill this game for me. Yeah. And that's the only thing that I'm really worried about. So what do you guys think? What's your thoughts on the game being this big but being open world?
Well, in terms of story, it'll definitely move slower. That's something that's kind of been stated in the articles, but people who enjoy the gameplay, who prefer gameplay over story will love that. And it's not like there isn't any story, it's just it's going to move a little slower because there's so much more gameplay with the mother base management and the open world where you can tackle things from all these angles. But I think that I think it'll be fine. Honestly, Metal Gear Solid 5, from what I've heard, the world is meant specifically for infiltration. It was created with infiltration in mind. You shouldn't expect GTA 5 level of bustling cities and stuff like that because not because they couldn't do it. It's just that's not the point. The point is infiltration, and the world has been created for that sole purpose. That's the one feedback that I keep getting from particularly the Spanish articles that I have read. They're saying, it's if you're thinking GTA 5, you're missing the point. So and because of that, I think everything will just kind of work itself out. You won't see sections of the game where you have a critical mission where you have to rescue some dude, and you can go and play some card games or some weird thing like that. That's just not how the game was constructed. When I think the way it works is things happen when you start a mission. So somebody, I think, gets kidnapped, I think, once you start the mission, or you'll get information that, okay, somebody was kidnapped, you should look into it. So they won't be like, somebody needs help right now, and then you go and do whatever you want. I think it'll work in a way that will blend seamlessly, and it'll just, I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know, guys, I'm exhausted.
It does. It does. It does. You're fine.
Yeah, it'll work. I don't know. From what I've read and what I've seen, nothing seems to not make sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and like I said, they have me in good faith right now. Like I said, it's just a concern that I had with the game being this long and this big. They have me in good faith with this whole, if you don't rescue Kaz by mid-afternoon on Wednesday, they're going to move him somewhere else or transport him somewhere else. Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing would be okay because, in these situations, things don't just happen instantly. You know what I mean? So like it makes sense for Kaz to be in a certain place, and then you have a certain amount of time to get him, and then whatever you do in the meantime is okay, as long as you're there by sundown on Wednesday.
The way missions work in this game, it's not like you do one part and then you can do another. You can leave it behind and then do some other mission and then come back to it. You have to complete the whole mission, or you abort the mission. That's it.
Okay.
So you don't have to just do one section of the quest and then leave that behind and spend some time playing card games or petting DD or whatever. You actually have to do the whole thing, and I think that will help alleviate the whole problem that you mentioned. So I think it'll be fine.
It would. What are your thoughts on that, Ronan? Are you as optimistic?
I am. I feel like they're going to manage what you would call gameplay flow pretty well when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I understand where you're coming from completely, Daily, where you say that some games like in Watch Dogs' case, or hell, I would even say in The Witcher's case, that the same thing kind of there's a lot of that happens in The Witcher, especially recently. I'm still playing through that, but there's a lot of cases where in some games where they're giving you a sense of urgency to complete your objective. However, you still have that opportunity to go around and, let's say, play a game of Gwent, for example, with a bunch of friends, or you could go complete. One thing that really I'm gonna
wish I could challenge you in Gwent. Dude, I'm a good Gwent player.
Not to dive too much into the Witcher 3 stuff, but there was a point in that game recently where this is not a new thing. This is a common thing that happens in many RPGs of this sort, where you reach a point in the game where they say, "This is the point of no return. You have hit the last part of the game.
Yeah.
Last part of the game where all of the side quests that you didn't finish, those are gone. You can't come back and do those." I hit that point, finished the following sequence that came after that, and then it threw me back in the world because the objective continued on, and I could still go back and do all the quests that I hadn't finished before. Even though we're on a rush to get to the final mission and complete the game, I can still go and play a game of Gwent. I can still go around the environment chopping people's heads off if I want to. So it's. I don't think that we'll go that route with Metal Gear Solid. I feel like they've crafted it well enough.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sure they've seen that problem and they're trying to avoid doing that. And I think that it's been carefully crafted enough to avoid going that route.
I think that's
they want you to.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think that's a big reason for why they have mission boundaries. A lot of people are concerned about that, but I think it makes sense. If you're in the middle of something, either you do it all the way through or just don't do it. You abort it, and that just makes so much sense. It makes things flow better. It makes, like you said, the whole Witcher 3 problem go away. If someone is in trouble in the middle of a mission, you better complete that mission. You better, it really gives you that sense of urgency without interrupting that and have you go play card games or whatever. You have to finish the mission. And that, I think, is why they implemented it. I think they didn't have to, but I think now that I'm thinking about it, it really does make sense.
It makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think that kind of thing is needed. I want to say real quick before we move on to the next topic, thank you to the almost 200 people who are already here today for this Metal Gear episode of the Codec. And Young, I know you don't know because we didn't get to tell you, but on Hitbox today there's a LEC2 tournament going on. So we're actually not front page. This is all organic followers who want to be here because they know about us, not just because we're on the front page. So thank you guys for joining us. And yes,
thanks for joining us, guys.
Welcome. We're about halfway through the show, a little less than halfway. But we've got a cool topic coming up, which is the environments. Now, I'm going to put the disclaimer out there that nobody has played anything but the Afghanistan map, right? There's been no press or anybody that's played Africa, right?
There are people who have reached Africa, but they haven't talked much about it.
Okay, so they can't talk about it yet if they've reached Africa already. But from what we understand, and this was in one of the articles that came out, is there's not a whole lot of bases that are bigger than Camp Omega, which raises a little bit of concern on my part, but also doesn't at the same time. It makes sense. If it's in Afghanistan to not, I mean, they don't have facilities like you saw in Shadow Moses. Yeah. They don't have facilities like you saw throughout Metal Gear Solid 4. Mm-hmm. And you never saw anything in Metal Gear Solid 3 that was huge other than like the main base, but that was split into different Groznygrad. It was split into different sections, and even so, the interiors weren't that big. I mean, there was
and you didn't spend much time in there either.
No, you didn't.
They were decent, but what concerns me is if you don't have anything bigger than Camp Omega, it makes me think like what exactly do you have there, and is it enough space for all of these missions that we have? Mm-hmm. So far we've only heard about Africa and Afghanistan. I don't know if those are the only two locations other than where the prequel takes place, the little hospital scene. Mm-hmm. So do you guys think that we'll be visiting other environments, maybe on a smaller scale, like a smaller scaled environment that's separate from these open worlds?
First of all, stat from an article, when one of the, or I don't know if he was the only one, but one dude talked about completing Africa, or almost completing Africa, and when he did, he was at 35 or 40%. So
wow.
that already tells you there's more.
Yeah, that explains a lot. That explains a lot.
So there's definitely going to be more. And I personally am confident that beyond that, we will see just ginormous facilities. I think it's such a big opportunity to create a seamless giant facility, and I think it's something that Kojima will do in the future. But again, this is all speculating. But in terms of what you read in the article, in Afghanistan, from what I've read, there are around 14 major bases, and some of them are comparable to Camp Omega. They're as big as Camp Omega. 14 of them are that size, and then 24 or so are smaller outposts and forts and whatever. So, and that's just Afghanistan.
Yes.
And then we got Africa. We don't even know anything about that. And then that's just 35% of the game.
Yeah.
I'm not worried, man. And also, from what I've read, these levels, these individual bases and forts, they're almost like levels. They're designed differently from one another. And they're designed in such a way that every one of them, you kind of have to tackle a little differently. There's something about them in terms of how the buildings are placed or where the guards are placed that makes each one kind of unique levels that have to be approached differently. Yeah. So I think what we're getting is a glimpse of, the open world and getting used to the open world in the first 2 chapters or whatever. And then I think eventually we are going to slowly start diving into interiors. And I don't know if you saw the Metal Gear Solid 5 6-minute trailer teaser. There's like a little 3-second footage that they showed. You guys haven't seen that yet.
I think I have seen that. Yeah.
I've seen screenshots of the footage, but I haven't seen the actual.
It shows Big Boss kneeling, and there's like corpses all. Yeah, a hallway. Yes. And then he's punching.
Let me go ahead and I'm gonna run the pictures while we talk about this.
Yeah, go
that right there. I think. Well, first of all, I don't think anybody has seen that part yet. I don't think that's Afghanistan. It looks like an interior. It looks to me like some kind of hospital. Whatever it is, it looks like a big interior space. So maybe that right there is kind of a little bit of proof that interior spaces will be a big part of the game. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, I totally understand the concern that, Ground Zeroes, it's cool and all, but that by itself was also a lot of exterior environments, and it was kind of like a small interior environment, and people want to see maybe interior infiltration. And so do I. I love exterior infiltration, but for me, what I loved about MGS1 and whatnot was infiltrating this giant base and that feeling of, that's what I want at some point in Phantom Pain. And hopefully we'll get that, and I'm personally confident that we will, based on the stats, the fact that we have seen so little. And even then, even if we don't, though, I think from what I'm hearing at how these are designed as levels, the way all the sections of the map are designed as levels, that's already exciting. And if what they say is true, then we're going to have so many variety of ways of infiltration that I don't think we'll get bored. But I'm personally confident we'll get interior spaces.
Awesome. And Ronan, your thought on that?
Yeah, I feel like I agree with what Yang is saying. I think that they have enough ways of varying up the designs of the environments for whether it be exterior or interior, that I think that nobody will get exhausted or bored or fatigued playing in these environments that they're in. Like you said, I agree. I'm a big fan of the way MGS1 was as well. I liked exploring this massive base, these nuclear bases.
Yeah.
And trying to get past the guards. I thought that was probably one of the most fun I've had in a Metal Gear game in a long time.
Yeah.
I do think that I'm really excited to see the seamless transition from the outside environments to the inside environments, and I think that it'll definitely change up the way a player approaches these environments. For example, the Afghanistan environment, where there are this wide open wasteland, so to speak, where you have a bunch of smaller buildings and rocks that you can hide behind. But for the most part, it's pretty open, and you can see during the day pretty clearly what's out there. Unlike, let's say, the jungle or Africa environment, where you have all these trees, where whether it's daytime or nighttime, visibility is still pretty low, unless you have something to help you see things throughout the environment.
Right, so you don't have to worry about playing the whole game at night.
Exactly. So it definitely varies up the way the players have to approach the game, whether it be day or night, whether you be in the African environments or whether you be in Afghanistan or whatever other environment they have in the game later on. I do think that there's going to be enough of them to justify the amount of time you're going to spend playing this game from start to finish, whether that be side objectives or the main story. based on what we're hearing so far, there is a lot to this game that we still haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
I think that's a big misconception, is a lot of people think that the game may only be Africa and Afghanistan, and it's not. At least I hope not.
Mm-hmm.
At least
right.
what we've seen, it's not. There should be a lot more to that. And to your point, Ronan, I think that's a great way to do it, because I think a lot of these stealth games, these action espionage games, do themselves a disservice by like putting the entire game at night, because you don't get to show off the beautiful textures and all of the gear that you have. It's all everything. Like a Splinter Cell is a great example, and like you play that whole game in the dark, and you never get to see any of the cool stuff you have. It's just the green dots, really. But
something that I want to add is that Kojima isn't the kind of guy to just show his hand. We have not seen everything, I guarantee you. Like, with MGS4, he showed the Middle East, right? And people thought, oh, then that's all we'll see, right? It's just going to be the Middle East. But we went back to freaking Shadow Moses.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, back to Shadow Moses. Yeah. We went to France, I believe. We
went to Eastern Europe or something.
Eastern Europe.
We went everywhere. And so I guarantee you that's not how Kojima plays his cards. He will keep most of them close to his chest.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure we'll see at least one or two more separate regions, without counting Cyprus, Africa, and Afghanistan. I don't see any other way based on the stats, what people are saying, and just how Kojima plays the game, so to speak. So
all right, well there you go, guys. We've got a prediction here that there will be some bigger environments for you to explore, both interior and exterior, maybe later on in the game, and they're just not ready to show that yet. Yeah. So that puts us at the halfway mark of the show. I'd like to thank anybody just joining us as we I think we just hit a little bit over 200 now. Yeah, we're at 207. So
nice.
Welcome to the stream. If you're just now joining us, we are talking everything Metal Gear today, and we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. As I said, halfway through the show now, the next question, this will be a fun topic for everybody, the microtransactions. The chat was
here we
for this
go.
With, hello? Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here. You're good.
I totally just like kicked the power to my monitor off. All right, we're good. All right, man. So the chat had a little bit of stuff to say earlier about microtransactions. Before I let the two professionals handle it, my thing on microtransactions is I'm not actually that worried about it. To me, it doesn't. At least from what they've shown right now, I don't think it's going to be game changing. I feel like it may just be for like mission cooldowns, like sending your players out for these side ops or these side objectives. You might be able to like purchase cooldown tokens or stuff like that. And the reason why I'm not that much affected by it is I think I'm desensitized to it. I think that I know microtransactions are going to be here. I think, okay, say hi to my dad as he just walked to my room. What's up? He's getting my guitar. So, I think with microtransactions, there really won't be like a super deep impact for that kind of thing. And I think enough games have done it already to where I'm kind of just like, I've never seen any game just outright blatantly, at least a AAA game, just outright blatantly be like, you need these microtransactions to, be good. In fact, some of them you miss. Like I know Dragon Age Origins has microtransactions in it, and I didn't for the first like months of playing it, and then I logged into the multiplayer, and it was like you can buy some gold to open chests if you want, so you don't have to grind so much to get that kind of stuff. But I'm a grinder anyway, so I just play it. The microtransactions are there if I need it, which I'll never need them. But to me, that's my opinion on it. I don't think it's going to be that detrimental to the game. Obviously, you don't like to see it in a AAA game. I'm one of those advocates to where like if you're paying $59.99 for your game, and we all know that it doesn't cost that to make the game, especially for people like me on PC who don't buy boxed copies, and we still don't get a discount on anything.
Right.
I know for a fact that these microtransactions in AAA games are going to be there. They were in Mortal Kombat. They were in these other kind of games, and to me, I just ignore them, and they don't really affect the gameplay too much. So that's my thoughts on microtransactions. If Metal Gear Solid was a free-to-play game and had microtransactions, then we could really scrutinize, why does it have this or why does it have that?
Right.
Obviously, the microtransactions, it just, in my opinion, guys, is just going to be for the people who don't necessarily have time to wait for, your team to come back from an outer op or something like that, or strut building. I believe in the little mobile companion app that you could get with Ground Zeroes, there was that little mother base building game. There was a cooldown from when you could build struts, and I feel like maybe that might have something like if you go in the Phantom Pain and want to add on to your mother base, that you might be able to purchase a quick upgrade for it to pop up now instead of having to wait. So that's my opinion on it. A little long-winded on that one. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, it's good. It's good
over here.
Young, let's hear your opinions on microtransactions in the Phantom Pain.
I think for this particular case, it won't be pay to win. I think people will be fine. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's there, but from what I've read from people, they say the game flowed in such a way that they never felt like they had to accelerate anything, whether it be outer ops or base construction, because you'll be doing so much in the field anyway that you'll kind of forget about that stuff, and then you'll come back to base and be like, oh, this stuff's already done. Yeah. Oh, crap, it's been, 20 hours. Oh, okay. From what I've read, outer ops can take hours of real time. So, I think in one article I read, they sent out some soldiers for outer ops, and it took them around 4 hours to get back from the mission.
Sounds a lot similar like Dragon Age. Like in Dragon Age, I don't know if you've played Inquisition, but you could send soldiers to remove debris from a bridge, and it would take real life time, but it would count while you were out of game as well.
Right, exactly. So I don't think it really does anything terribly. As long as the rewards are decent, you waited 4 hours. They better bring back a lot of rewards, a decent amount of GMP, a decent amount of new recruits, blueprints, whatever, cassette tapes, whatever it is that they reward you with. They better bring something
child
decent
soldiers.
Back. Right, I don't want just 100. Yeah, child soldiers. Yeah. Wow, we went there. But sure, anything, whatever. As long as it improves Mother Base in a significant way after waiting those 4 hours, that's fine. But if, they come back and I get 100 GMP, then I'll be a little pissed.
Right.
If I need microtransactions to send these guys back constantly and get, little rewards at a time, then that'll piss me off. But I've never read anything like that from the articles. Everyone said the game flowed naturally, that everything just felt like it worked. They never felt like they had to wait too long for one thing. Everything was just fair. So it's there for the people who want to use it, but I don't think a lot of people will be using it, and you won't need to use it. It's not pay to win. That's my take on it.
Right. And Ronan, before we go to you, I believe one of the fans mentioned it here in the chat today, but they said Metal Gear Solid 4 had some microtransactions in it as well.
Online, you mean? Or
yeah, for the online.
It might have been for the online, yeah.
So maybe it's not anything new. Maybe it's those microtransactions coming back. But what do you think about it, Ronan? I know you don't like them normally.
You're right. You're definitely right about that. I could chalk that up to playing a lot of games that use microtransactions in a really dirty kind of way.
Like Dirty Bomb?
Okay. No, you're going there, aren't you? You're going there.
I'm going there. I invited them to eFusion Week specifically to talk about that. Hopefully they'll come.
Interesting.
I played. Okay, this is not to call out too many games that do something like this, where I'm saying it's dirty, because it's not necessarily as bad in this case, but I'm going to use this as an example. Warframe. It's one of those cases where they have microtransactions, but a lot of it is based around weapon construction and getting the parts to make weapons. And what you do is you gather those parts, you then go into your foundry and you have it construct that weapon. And that weapon takes real time, which is usually anywhere from 12 to 24 hours to get done. But you can speed that process up by buying their microtransaction currency and spending that on the weapon to speed up
does
time.
it speed it up, or does it automatically complete it?
In some cases, it depends on how much you spend.
Bro, if I spend money and you're still making me wait, I just gotta wait a little less time. That's
depends on how much you spend.
Come on.
That stuff like that
no.
is what kind of sours me on microtransactions where I'm like, I understand people get upset about this when they see it in one of their favorite franchises. But I don't think they're going to go that route in Metal Gear. I don't think they're definitely not going to do that.
Game. That's what I keep driving that point home to anybody who defends microtransactions outright. Like I said, to me, I'm indifferent. Like I understand if they're there in the multiplayer and stuff, but if you're a AAA game and you're sticking microtransactions in there and then you're going to, put DLC in there and then you're going to put this and that, like, gotta stop, man. Like evolve where it's the DLC hub. Like
right.
Even the game is like a DLC, man. Like there's other games out there who do the same thing as Evolve does, but you get everything when you buy it. Like
right,
it would just kill me if they did something like that, which I really hope they don't. And like Young said, according to the articles that he's seen and I've seen, and Ronan, I'm sure you've seen some as well.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem like that right now.
Yeah.
And I really hope it's.
I don't think they're going to go that route. And at the end of the day, though,
Kojima got fired. Is he didn't want to go that route.
It could be. It seems like this is the kind of route that Konami is trying to take in general.
Yeah.
Trying to turn our games into slot machines.
Yeah.
Basically.
Slot
machines, capitalize on these days.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be fine though.
I think it'll be all right
for Metal Gear in particular. But I'm sure it was a Konami decision. I don't think Kojima was like, let's do microtransactions. He's not that kind of guy.
That was the last thing on his mind.
Exactly how
Did you like it? No, we don't like it. I don't think it's fine. No, it wasn't Kojima. It was Konami. I'm sure of it. It was a business decision, and it is what it is.
He's here almost every week, guys. So wow. Did you like it? I don't know, man. So microtransactions, that topic is obviously, like I said, a sore one for gamers who are pocketing $59.99 for the game. And while we're on that topic real quick, we're about 3/4 of the way done with the show. So I want to be quick on this. But I talked a little bit about this when we first started doing the codec, and I'm really, really still upset that PC can't pre-order still. Don't have pre-orders up for PC. And then I see that you guys don't have this problem because you're going to get it on the PS4, and you're going to get it on the PS4 as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you guys are going to get to play it before me, and not only that, but check this out. I've got to pay the same price as you guys, but I cannot get the collector's edition. There's no option for PC users to get a collector's edition or a physical copy. You have to get a Steam code, and it's got to be through Steam. I don't even think GameStop will let you pre-order it for PC, and then let you pick up like a game code or something from them. I don't think they'll do that. And it's really annoying because I know there's a huge community out there on the PC that loves Ground Zeroes. Like you saw, as soon as Ground Zeroes came to the PC, you got some cool things that you have never seen in Metal Gear before. Right. You got them replacing character models, like upgrading textures. Upgrading textures, the mods. They broke things down to do like the theory videos. A lot of the videos that some theorists have made are possible because the PC users cracked open some of those files and were like, hey, look at this, look at that, look at the medic. You got the full face of the medic.
Maybe that's what they don't want. Maybe that's why. Maybe they don't want people to break down the game to look at all the assets and stuff like that. Maybe that's the point. Maybe they want the PS4 users to be surprised and whatever, instead of have PC people look into everything and ruin it all day one. Maybe that's it.
You PC people, y'all are terrible. Dude, we're terrible. We're terrible. But the issue for me is like I should still have the option maybe to get that. Like my collector stuff should maybe come in the mail or something. Maybe I have to pay a little extra for shipping or something like that. Sure. But I don't even have that option. We have one option. It is $59.99 and you're only getting the game, and I believe there's not even like different editions. Like there's just one edition of the PC game. I haven't seen a digital deluxe that adds like the extra weapons and stuff like that. I know there's the day one edition, which I guess you're opted to buy when you're buying it, but it doesn't seem like there. If you're trying to cater to the PC players now, first game in a long time that's been out for PC, other than I believe Metal Gear Solid 2 had a port, and Metal Gear Solid 1 actually had a physical PC disc that was separate. Yeah. Right, it wasn't a port. It was an actual done PC game, and actually looked better than the original when it was done in 720p. And so everything's a lot more crisp and sharp. If you go and play the PC version of Metal Gear Solid 1, it looks way better than the PlayStation version by a lot. And it seems like they're not giving us a whole lot of love. They're just like, well, you could play this game if you want. I mean, we really don't care.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that out there. If you're a PC user, tweet at Konami. Tell them to give us a digital deluxe edition. Let us buy that. We want to give you money. Okay?
For the last time.
Yeah. We want to for the last time. And I guarantee you, if they don't do something like that, there's going to be a lot of things like Corrupt Ronan and I talked about with Impeller Studios. There's going to be a lot of pirates who are not happy, who will just steal the game because they're not offered the copy.
Put your dollar bills in the disk drive. It's going to be fine. Just send it that way. There's your ATM.
Dollar bills in the disk drive. But that wraps up that topic. As I said, we're about 3/4 of the way through the show, so we got to wrap up some of the...
Uh-oh.
All right, looks like we're back live. Looks like we still got 225 people are still here. So thank you guys so much for keeping with us as with that little technical difficulty that we had. It wasn't XSplit's fault this time, surprisingly. It was my fault. So I will take the blame on that one. So before we left, or before I knocked the whole stream offline, we were talking about the microtransactions, but we're all done with that, I believe, unless anybody had a final opinion on that. Anybody have anything else for that? We're all good?
You'll be fine. That's all I got to say about that, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Sounds like your guys are going to be just fine. And if you're not, you can send all complaints to Young. Yeah. So one of the last topics that we have, we're going to have to move quick because I know Young, he's got some stuff to do, is we have a 6-minute gameplay or a 6-minute trailer. Mm-hmm. It says gameplay on the article that I read. I don't want to call it just gameplay. I feel like it might be a trailer featuring gameplay, kind of like Fallout. But we've got a trailer coming E3 week, and it looked terrifying. From the previews that we have, we've got 2 blood-soaked images, and those will be scrolling around the screen here. So if you guys are watching, you should see on the bottom part of the chat box, you should see a bloody dude with a horn coming out. And then the next picture, as Yong stated during his section of the codec earlier, is we had a hallway with like soldiers all bloodied and kind of reminiscent of like the Shadow of Moses incident right before you fight Gray Fox. Yeah. There was that hallway full of bloody dead soldiers, and it's really kind of made an appearance in most of the Metal Gear games, I believe, except for 3. I don't remember it being in 3. It might have been, but I know in 2 it was recreated with Olga.
Yeah.
Yeah, the S3 playing it was those the seals that were all slaughtered right before seeing Vamp, and then like I said, I don't know if it made an appearance in 3, but I think there was something similar to that in 4.
Yeah, 4 actually you could actually go to the hallway in Shadow of Moses.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, so this scene being recreated, and as we all know, one of the things behind Metal Gear is history repeating itself. So this might be the first instance of that happening if there wasn't something in Metal Gear Solid 3 that I'm just missing that I can't remember. But what do you guys think about this new trailer? What are we going to see? And is it going to be more like gameplay focused, or is it going to be a more cinematic feel? How do you guys think it's gonna go down, Young?
I think it'll be focused on cinematics. That's just Kojima, man. He's got to make his trailers just cinematically awesome, and he will. He always does. And from what I'm seeing, I mean, it looks terrifying. I think we're going to see a lot of things that I don't even think the media got to see in the MGS5 preview. I think we'll see some more story stuff. Hopefully nothing too spoilerific. But I love the Gray Fox reference. I mean, I think it's blatantly a Gray Fox reference. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see the character in the game.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, the timelines, they match up too well, and I mean, just all the little hints and nudges
this would be the time that Gray Fox and Big Boss were building their really, good friendship, to where he would send Gray Fox to outer heaven in the MG games. So. Yeah. I think you're right. I think if we don't see him, I believe he'll be talked about and referenced, which I believe was in an article that he actually is talked about quite a few times.
This is around the time when he's rescued from Zimbabwe or something. I forget. That's when his ears and whatever get cut off, and a lot of other crap happened to him. But and that kind of goes in line with Phantom Pain, the lost limbs and whatever. it just everything clicks. So, but no, I think we're gonna see a lot of cinematics.
6 minutes.
No, yeah, 6 minutes though. That is
6
crazy. They might do a thing like they did with the Phantom Pain trailer from E3, where they have cutscene and then it goes into gameplay. They show some of that and then it goes back to cinematics. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
And so it might do something similar like that, but because 6 minutes, it is a lot of that's a lot of cinematics to show.
Right.
And unless they show a lot of the stuff they've already shown and then add some new stuff in there.
Right.
But I don't care what it is. I'm excited. Just based on those 2-3 seconds of footage we've seen. It's not just screenshots. It's like a footage that they showed in the YouTube live
YouTube thing.
thing. It's like a 2-3 second segment, and it looks brilliant. It looks amazing and terrifying. I can't wait to see what that's all about.
Yeah.
I think so too. Ronan, your opinions on a 6-minute gameplay trailer at E3 just sprung up on us. What do you think about that?
First of all, I have to point out.
We called it.
I called it.
You did.
You did. I want to point that out. I called it. No, I'm kidding. But besides that, no, I'm excited to see this. I took a look at the little preview that they showed for the YouTube thing, and I'm pretty excited to see that as well. The one thing that I like about when it comes to these trailers that we've seen so far is that, Kojima is putting them together himself, which is really nice because that way you get to see exactly the way he envisioned these kinds of things.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that it's going to be mostly cinematic focused. There might be some bits and pieces of gameplay in there that you might see, but for the most part, they're trying to sell you on the story of the Phantom Pain. So that's probably going to be the primary focus of this trailer. But yeah, I think
I think it's going to be the last one we get.
Yeah.
It might be. I mean, there's a chance they could possibly show something, I believe, at Gamescom, but that's still kind of risky as well because it's so close to release, obviously, and Gamescom usually happens in August, and the game's coming out on September 1st. But yeah, that plus Gamescom is not anywhere near as big as E3 is, put it that way. But I still think that this will be
a Tokyo Game Show. So
yeah, but that usually happens in like mid-September. Yeah.
It'll be out.
So so it's either this or Gamescom for their last opportunities to really push this thing before release. And I think these trailers are definitely the first step in that process. And I think that 6 minutes for a trailer is a lot to show some footage without really spoiling anything on top of that. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see that, and I'm excited to see it too.
Yeah. I would love another voiced over trailer, kind of like the one that we heard from Kiefer during the Mike Oldfield Nuclear trailer.
Yeah,
that was a really that was a great trailer, and I liked how they incorporated some voice work from some of the cinematics and stuff like that. So that's what I'm hoping for. I think there's a huge thread going around about which song is going to be on there. there's a ton of different theories on what song is going to be around there. But before we shift to our next topic, and I know we're getting really close to being done here, guys, so just bear with us for just a few more minutes. I want to point out that over the last few images that I've seen of Big Boss, I gotta say he looks thick and chunky, man. I can't, not in a bad way, but he looks like a meaty dude that I cannot wait to CQC the shit out of some people.
Oh, that description.
With Big Boss, man, he looks like a brick house, man. And I love that about Big Boss. I was talking with Quentin Flynn and David about the upcoming eFusion week that we have with them, and we were talking a little bit about how we were going to do everything, and somebody brought up Snake's appearance and how Snake was always the thinner, kind of more agile guy, and we asked him about the Big Boss during our interview with him, and they even said something about it here recently about how thick and muscular he looks, and I think that's gonna really, really look great on the Foxes, and I hope we get to see some cool badass moves from him in this trailer. But the last couple things that we have to talk about, guys, is we'll kind of combine these into one question because Young's got to go, and we've already been live for about an hour here now. So the voiceovers out of the 15-hour period, they said that Kiefer Sutherland did not talk very much at all with 15 hours of gameplay in the belt. Does that concern you at all, or do you think that it's spread over so much that maybe it seems like he's not talking a lot now and he'll talk some more later? Do you think it's a price problem that Kiefer Was it maybe he was just too expensive to do too much dialogue? But we had a preview in Ground Zeroes of the interrogation system, and like it didn't feel as good as the interrogation system in 3 or 4, where when you interrogate somebody, they actually talk or say something. You get, Kiefer going, "Spit it out," and then you get like a dialogue at the bottom. Like you don't have a fully voiced interrogation scene. Does that kind of stuff concern you, Young? Are you concerned about how much we're going to hear Snake with this new voice actor? It seems like if you're going to replace him, speaking of David Hayter, if you're going to replace him as Big Boss, you might as well get somebody who's going to deliver those lines, even though you want him to be a little more subdued. Obviously, maybe not as much dialogue, but to have so little, is that going to be okay with you?
Well, first of all, from what I've heard, he has a lot of dialogue in the cassette tapes. There is like a ton of dialogue in the cassette tapes. So the way everyone's saying it works is that they want the hardcore story stuff, the backstory stuff, the behind the scenes stuff to be, I guess, optional in some way, where you can just kind of just dive into the cassette tapes if you're into that kind of stuff. If not, just play through the game. But yeah, from the articles, they say he doesn't talk much at all throughout that 15-hour chunk, gameplay-wise. But when you dive into the cassette tapes, which you can do via the iDroid, or when you're in Air Command Center, which is the little...
This is starting to confuse me a little bit.
The little mini base in the chopper, you can listen to all the cassette tapes, and that's when Kiefer unleashes his voice acting prowess.
Who records himself on a cassette tape and then scatters it around the island for themselves to find? That's the weird part that's the weird part that's striking me. Like, there's got to be something that maybe like some prior stuff, and maybe they get scattered that way.
No, well, the stuff that you find, it's probably less about Mother Base, because you unlock cassette tapes as you progress through the missions.
Okay.
That's one way you unlock them. And then another way to do it is by looking for them, by completing side ops, whatever. Right. And I think those will be more about other characters.
So like when you complete a side op or something, maybe Big Boss goes home and records an audio log about it, and then it allows you to listen to that later.
I think that's the way it works. Because I know you do get cassette tapes with every like main mission or something like that.
So it's
kind of like Peace Walker.
It's confirmed we're playing the most conceited character on the face of the planet. He records himself talking and then listens to himself talking in the battlefield. It's amazing.
He'll scatter this out later so we can hear himself talk while he's doing the missions.
I still think that's a good idea. I think if they're trying to, take Snake's voice down in the game a bit, I think it would make sense to put it in the cassette tape so where we can listen to it at our leisure. So what are your thoughts on the voice work, Ronan? I know, you're an avid David Hayter fan, just like we all are. And, we aren't going to have him basically narrating us through the entire exposition that we have, but we do have Kiefer Sutherland, who seems to be doing an okay job. What do you think about the amount of voice work that he has here?
I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that they're trying to give the players a chance to personify themselves as Big Boss, and a lot of that might have to involve cutting down a lot of the in-game dialogue during cutscenes or small scenes that take place between him and characters. So I can see that being part of the reason why you don't really hear him that much outside of the cassette tapes. The other part of me, the realist part of me, wants to say that Kiefer was expensive. So and with in the chat saying this too, Kiefer was probably expensive, so they probably had to narrow down a lot of his voice work into certain things, which might be part of that, which might be part of the reason why it is what it is. But I do think that I don't know, like I feel like the dialogue in the scenes and stuff like that will probably add a lot more to it. I think it makes sense to have him, go out on the missions, not really say much. I think the sole focus is to do those missions, the gameplay aspect of it is that. And when you're back at Mother Base, for example, you could take that time to, either construct weapons or perhaps listen to those cassette tapes that he might have made. Or as you go through the story, you get new cassette tapes to listen to, or the side characters that he might talk to when you're doing the side ops and stuff like that. I think it makes sense to do it that way instead of throwing story in the character's face or the player's face the whole time. Because that's one of the big complaints that people have with the Metal Gear Solid franchise is there's too many cutscenes. This would be a good way to cut back on some of that and focus a bit more on gameplay as a whole.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Kiefer, from what I heard, he does a good job from what, I've read in the articles, from what little he does speak in the cutscenes, he does a great job. And again, I think I don't think it's much of a. I don't think it has to do anything with the money, you know, with him costing a lot or anything like that. I think it's more just the kind of, yeah, like you said, Ronan, with bringing gameplay at the forefront, which makes the story a little bit more optional with the cassette tapes. Yeah. And I think it'll work out just fine. For some people, Absolutely. It was a bit weird because they're so used to Big Boss talking all the time. But from what I've seen, Big Boss is a little more subdued, like not just in terms of how much he talks, just in terms of his expression. He's always kind of, in the cutscenes, he's always kind of slumped. He's always kind of contemplating, and he's got this worn out kind of feel to him that wasn't there in, say, Snake Eater, where he was, all happy-go-lucky. He trolled people
David
by shooting,
put,
the beehives.
Metal Gear 4, where he's like,
it was
tired.
Right, exactly. Worn out. That's the feeling that a lot of people got from this particular Big Boss, and in that sense, it works out fine. But I did hear some complaints that it's a little weird sometimes, because you'll see Kaz just constantly talking and screaming about something, and then he pauses, and then you expect Big Boss to reply, and he doesn't, and then Kaz just keeps going and going and going, or whatever. So that was an example.
Looks at him and goes, "Spit it out."
Maybe, I don't know. Three lines we'll hear in the game: spit it out, speak.
Yeah, speak.
And that's it.
All right, guys. We are going to do the final thoughts on the show before we leave here. So, Ronan, any final thoughts on Metal Gear? Any of the news updates or anything you wanted to bring to the attention of the crowd?
Yep, I would like to formally announce that they're going to show Metal Gear Solid 5 at E3, and when they come out, they're going to reveal it's actually The Last Guardian instead. And when that takes place, no, I'm kidding. I don't have anything else to say about that. I'm pretty excited to see the trailer at E3 for sure, and I want to hear people's impressions that do get a chance to play it there. If there's there might not be anything new that they might show. It might be the same thing that they showed at the preview event, which I'm okay with. I'd rather get different perspectives on what that's like from different people instead of going through new stuff and getting completely lost in all the info that comes out because of that. So
exactly.
I'm pretty excited to see what's going on at E3 this year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And Yong, we're going to ask you the same thing, your final thoughts and stuff on the new Metal Gear Solid, the information that has been released. But we're also going to ask you to give us just a small teaser of, if you have it. I know you got some videos in the work. If you got any new theories coming, if you got something like that, maybe you can hit us with a little teaser while we wait for the video to come out. If it's just a news breakdown, then we look forward to seeing that. But what is your thoughts on all of this new Metal Gear Solid information and that kind of stuff?
First of all, Konami, just slow down, man. You're killing me here. I am dying slowly.
Konami and Bethesda have teamed up to
take me down. Just, oh my god. No, it's ridiculous, but I love it. No, it's exciting. It's an exciting time, E3 always. That's when all the big news come out. And the 6-minute trailer, that's all I want, And right now I'm working on the MGS5 preview stuff. There is a lot from sources that are, from foreign sources. The Spanish speakers in particular, they go into a lot of detail.
Yeah, and we spoke about that.
Yeah, you'll hear about...
put out a lot of info.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, no, they go into detail. And so you'll hear a lot from them that you might not have heard from the English sources. I got most of my new info from them, actually. From the Spanish-speaking sources, but nothing too spoilerific, so you'll be fine. But no, it's an exciting time, and in terms of theory stuff, there's something going on. There's something going around about face customization. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Huh.
Yeah, there's something going around where at the beginning of the game, players can customize a face, but that face... I don't know, it was a Portuguese article that said it's something about it looked like plastic surgery. That's what he said. And then the article got edited, so it removes that part. But then some other guy tweeted that's related with MGO3. It has nothing to do with the single player.
Okay.
You still play as Big Boss, whatever. I don't know. All these crazy things going around. I gotta look into that.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, something about plastic surgery. Something about creating a face
chat to blow up at
the beginning of the game. I don't know what that's about. I'm gonna look into it and let you guys know. But from what I'm hearing, it's more online related than single player. But who knows? Maybe it was a slip of the tongue. But we'll see what happens. I'll look into that and let you guys know. But for now, I'm focused on compiling all the information from the MGS5 preview from all the languages and whatever, and just kind of giving you guys one solid video. It might be one of the longest videos I've ever made, so that's why it's taking so long. But
there's a few. There's a few questions in the chat asking when you might have that video up, if you want to address that to them one last time.
Tomorrow. I thought it was going to be out today, but then I had to do this. I had to do a bunch of other stuff. You know, the stuff about the trailer coming out. I covered that, and I figured that'll be enough for today. And tomorrow I'll unleash the Kraken with this video. Yeah, I'm confident it'll be out by tomorrow afternoon or night for sure, because I'm almost done with the script. It's now about refining and then doing the audio for that, and then editing the video. That's also going to take some time, but hopefully tomorrow.
Those renders, man, those renders.
They take forever, man.
All right, so to recap, guys, we had a great Metal Gear show for you today. We do have some stuff coming up for you next week. We have eFusion Week. We have a ton of guests lined up for you for Metal Gear. We have got David Hayter, Quentin Flynn, Paul Eiding, Tasia Valenza has confirmed that she is coming, and Christopher Randolph as well. So we're gonna, be able to talk to some of the Metal Gear cast again. Kind of get an update on what they're doing now and what the future holds for them. So make sure you tune in. We've got games, giveaways, tons of stuff planned for you guys during eFusion Week. Interviews. Yong will be on here at some point. Don't want to have a date confirmed for you yet. It may be before E3 or after E3, as Yong himself. Can we talk about that? Can we tell them what's going on with that?
Oh, well, I'm going to E3, and
I didn't know if that was a secret or not.
No, that's not a secret.
Okay.
I am going to E3. I'm not going to the press conferences. I'm going to the show floor, where I can try out some of the stuff there. And there's going to be a lot of cool surprises there that I think you guys should look forward to. And I'll definitely cover some of that stuff. Try to upload videos as I cover some of the stuff, but just
from your phone like this, selfie Yong mode. Right?
Selfie. No, I bought some equipment, and I think hopefully it'll be decent quality. But yeah, it's my first time going to E3. It's kind of scary. I've never been to LA.
I'm excited for you, man.
Yeah, it's weird, but we'll see what happens, and I'll definitely share whatever info I can get and reveal with you guys. So stay tuned on eFusion. Definitely, it'll be a great.
We'll be. I'm sure I'll be able to talk to you while you're there, maybe via Skype or something. And if you got something you want to tell the fans, because I'm sure some of your fans will be watching eFusion Week as well. Mm-hmm. If you want to say hi to them, maybe I can pipe you in and let you say hi to the fans, because we're going to be going from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern for 5 days straight. I'm gonna kill myself, man. So. The Codec next week will not be the Codec. There will be no Codec next week. It will be part of eFusion Week. So if you're looking forward to the Codec next week, I'm sorry, but we're going to postpone that one until probably the week after or so. And maybe we might even postpone it one more week, because Yong might have a ton of stuff to do. We might just do like a smaller interview, maybe me and Ronan and somebody else. We'll definitely have something for you guys next week, but it might not be a full-fledged interview. That's why we did 2 for you last week, just so we get this big week coming up. So we hope to see you guys there. We'll be live every day. We've got tons of stuff planned for you. And I see a lot of people talking about Python Selkin in the chat. I invited him to eFusion Week, and he said he didn't want to come. So, unfortunately, there will be no Metal Gear conspiracy theories at eFusion Week unless I formulate them myself, which I seem to be.
Which you will. I seem to
be pretty good at doing. I might be like, an up-and-coming conspiracy theorist. So we'll see. But we had a great time talking with you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning into the Codec. Ronan, your final thoughts for the fans?
Oh man, I'm excited for eFusion Week. I'm excited to talk to David and Quentin once again.
At the
same time, man. It was just crazy. And seeing those promo videos, they're doing pretty hilarious as well.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys during eFusion Week, where I'll be, like I said before, I won't be on the entire time, but there are definitely some times where you guys will catch me on for the most part. So if you're looking forward to seeing me there, of course, then tune in for sure. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. You guys stay classy. Corrupt Ronan's out of here.
All right, and from everybody here at Nation Fusion, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and a tremendous amount of support without front page coverage today. I really, really appreciate that. I can't do this without you guys. There are links down low in the description of some of the upcoming shows, ways to support the show. If you're not following the stream already, please follow the stream. every single follow counts, and hopefully during eFusion Week I'll have a follower notification up for you guys, so you guys can get some love for following the stream. Everybody here really appreciates everybody who shows us support as we grow this show into something big. We really appreciate all of the people that were with us from day one. The first, we have a better start than most shows. I think we started with like a 500 viewer count with David Hayter.
That was our first show. That was our first show.
Our first show was David Hayter. But like I said, it's important. I know the people that were here every week after that, we love you guys for sticking with us week in and week out. And we definitely appreciate everybody who was here when we first started. So that's it for me. Stay tuned for eFusion Week. Penguin posted in the chat a little video for it. It is June 15th through the 19th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Guests, games, and gear brought to you by Hitbox.tv, Nation Fusion, Control Freak, and a couple other great sponsors. Make sure you guys check them out. Everybody.
Yeah, this was another great episode of the Codec. We covered a lot of cool information, a lot of excitement in the rooms here. And no, it's going to be great. Definitely stay tuned with eFusion, where you guys are going to get all the latest and greatest for Metal Gear and all the other games, and a lot of cool stuff happening. I'll stop by from time to time when I have time. Awesome. Definitely, I'll contact you daily when I have time to sort that through. But look forward.
Yeah, we didn't tell him, but we're planning on interviewing you, not just to come on here to be a guest. We're actually going to interview Young, when he has some time. Like I said, he's busy during that week, but we do want to get him on here so we can talk to him about his rise through YouTube, why Metal Gear is so important to him. So not just as a co-host, but as a guest finally. And I didn't mean to cut you off, man, but I wanted to make sure everybody knows that it's not a business as usual thing. It's you get to come on here and tell us a little bit about yourself. So
yeah, I'll be glad to do it. The best time would probably be Wednesday. That's what I'm thinking, based on what I've scheduled so far. But I'll let you know, and we can make an announcement once we know for sure or whatever. But
sounds good.
Awesome. I'll definitely try to come on and. Stay tuned definitely on my channel for all things Metal Gear. I know there's a lot happening on the 15th, but that's when I'm taking my flight to LA, so I may be a little late on some stuff, but just
vlog
and
yeah.
I'll get on that as soon as I can. But it's an exciting week, so stay tuned on all of our channels, Twitters, hitboxes, whatever. And I'll see you guys next time. Young out.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. It'll be eFusion Week next time we see you. So you guys have a great day. I'm going to be back after the commercial break here, just to kind of update you guys on a couple little things. But these two guys are out of here. So we will see you guys next time over at eFusion Week.